Well, they struck a deal. The Senate passed a new bipartisan coronavirus relief bill today by unanimous consent. The House now expected to take it up on Thursday. It's a nearly $500 billion interim bill, which is mostly centered around the program that we've been covering a lot, the Paycheck Protection Program, which ran out of money last week and now will get some additional funding. The bill also includes some additional stipulations that Democrats insisted upon in negotiations. For instance, money for small businesses working with community banks to make sure that they are not shortchanged and left out, as well as money for hospitals and also $25 billion for nationwide testing. That said, it leaves out money for a whole host of priorities, particularly state and local governments, which are just bleeding dry right now, as well as universal vote by mail for the November, and a whole lot of stuff that's going to have to be in another piece of legislation that everyone seems to agree will happen, but who knows? Joining me now is someone who voted on today's new coronavirus relief bill, Senator Doug Jones, Democrat from Alabama. Senator, you did not object to unanimous consent, so I assume your thumbs up on this. What grade do you give this? People call it a sort of interim bill.
Right. Well, I give it a pretty good grade. It's a heck of a lot better than what Senator McConnell put on the floor about 10, 12 days ago, when it was just throwing money into the PPP program. We've got a lot more. We've got an extra $120 billion for that program now. We've got money for hospitals and we've got money for testing. You're absolutely right. It is not everything that I would like to see, particularly for our mayors out there that are suffering so bad. But overall, I think it's a good bill. Remember, all of this is a work in progress, Chris. It's going to be a work in progress for some time. So this was a good way to get more money in there and get things continuing to go.
I want to follow about mayors and local governments, but for first just on PPP, and maybe this is a crazy idea, but unemployment insurance is in the bill, beefed up unemployment insurance. It is not appropriated with a hard limit. Basically, if you qualify for it, you're going to get it, and the cost is going to be what the cost is. I don't understand why Democrats, Republicans, all you guys out there who think it's a good program don't just fund PPP this way, because my understanding of the need for the program is they're going to run out of money in a week. We're going to be back to where we were a week from now.
Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, Chris, I've got a program that we rolled out just last week to do just that I hope will get in the next package. It's called the Paycheck Security Program, and it will do just that. It will fund things, a business of any size, nonprofits. It will go through either Treasury or maybe even the IRS, and it would be a grant program. You could use payroll processors. I think you and I talked about that about a month ago as a possibility. Yeah. And it would go straight to fund payroll up to $90,000, and it would be a 6-month program. It would give people the cushion. It would give businesses the cushion needed and the employees the cushion that they're needed to open those businesses back up in a smart, helpful way. There's a lot of guardrails on it to protect it, but I think it's a great program, and I'm really hoping that folks on both sides of the aisle can take a good, strong look at it as we go forward.
Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, which of course borders Georgia, expressed some trepidation about Governor Kemp's decision in Georgia to reopen places like nail salons and massage parlors. Do you have concerns in Alabama?
Oh, absolutely. About Georgia, I do. I mean, look, our governor today had a press conference and she could have done the same thing, but she didn't. She stood strong. She said she was going to follow the advice of the healthcare professionals. She was going to look at opening at some point down the line when we're sure that our case number is declining. She defied what they did in Florida and Georgia. Chris, I had to take my mom to the doctor yesterday, and the first questions they asked her, have you had a fever? Have you had respiratory problems? Have you traveled internationally? Hell, I think people from Alabama, they're going to have to start asking if we've traveled to Georgia or Florida lately, because what they're doing in those two states, I think, is just crazy.
Final question about the mayors and localities. I mean, you got a state and cities in that state that are going to be essentially bankrupt. I mean, not in a technical sense, but are going to have deficits this year, operating deficits that are being enormous. They will be even bigger next year. Are you confident that Mitch McConnell and Republicans are going to be there to help those states and localities out? Or do you worry that when it comes time to do that, that the Republican Party is going to say, oh, no, now we're worried about the deficit?
No, absolutely. I think they're going to be worried about something. I mean, they haven't been there yet. Democrats have been pushing to help our mayors across this country from the very beginning, and there's been an incredible amount of pushback. We were lucky to get $150 billion for states and local governments the last time, but it was only supposed to be for extraordinary COVID-related expenses. Democrats have been pushing to help our mayors who are on the front lines providing those essential services without the revenue that everybody knows that they should be getting, but because of the stay-at-home orders, they're not. We're going to continue to push for that, but I don't really have that confidence, but I hope that they will. I'm afraid that they're going to hang that over the cities and the mayors in some twisted way to make them open the economy back up. That would be unfortunate.
Senator Doug Jones, thank you so much for making time tonight, sir.
It's my pleasure, Chris. Anytime.